Hey, John Sonmez from SimpleProgrammer.com. I got a question after I did a video on how I plan my week about basically how to estimate things that you don't know how to do. And I thought this was a pretty good question because this is something that a lot of people face. So I'm going to answer that in this video. So this question is from Patrick, and Patrick says, "Hello, long-time follower and big fan. I was recently reading your latest entry on productivity, how I plan my week, which I really enjoyed, and I'm trying to implement in a way that works for me. A question though: in my current job, I'm often tasked with doing something I don't currently know how to do, and as such, I start with a lot of research. How do I, in your opinion, estimate something like researching a skill I don't currently have? For instance, I may be asked to add to a PHP system we have built, and I'm not a PHP programmer. Well, neither am I. I don't really know what the LAMP stack that well, so I would have to begin with some research into what's possible and how I can go about it within that framework. Thanks ahead of time, and God bless." Well, Patrick, I think this is a big problem. This is a big question that a lot of people face. Not just developers, right? Just in general, how do you estimate things that you don't know how to do yet? And really, the answer is that you can't, right? So I've faced this in Scrum teams on Agile projects. I face it, in fact, just this week, right? I'm facing it right now because I have a task on my weekly planning board that's after shooting these videos, which is plan what to do next, decide on big projects, right? I can't estimate how long that will take, and I can't estimate anything past that, right? Because I have to do that before I can move on. And so that's really the answer to my question. So I'm going to answer your question without really answering your question because the answer to your first question of how can you estimate something that you don't know how to do yet is you can't. But that doesn't mean that you have to go and give a fake estimate or try to come up with something that you're not going to be able to come up with. Instead, what it means is that you have to basically do the research first. You can estimate how long it will take you to research something, and you can time box that activity. So if you have, let's take your PHP example, right? If you know that someone's going to ask you to modify a PHP program that you have not worked with at all, you can't give them an adequate estimate of how long it will take you to do something until you've done the research to see how long it will take you or what that entails. So what I would do in that case is, especially if you're on like a Scrum or an Agile team, is you need a backlog for research. And that is you can't do anything past that, right? If that's a step in the ladder, you can't climb the next steps until that one is totally done. And then you can estimate and come up with more stories and more estimates. But I do that in my own personal planning. Like the rest of my week is not planned out at this point. But once I finish that one task of doing the research, of figuring out what I'm going to work on, then I will fill in the other things. So I need to gather information first. Now, the good news about this is that kind of a research task is usually a small task. I mean, usually for most things, you can slot research for 1 to 2 hours, maybe 3 hours at the most. And that should give you enough information to make accurate estimates or semi-accurate estimates for the future. If you take the time to do the research, then the chances of your estimations for that future work, for the thing you don't currently know how to do yet, are going to be a lot better. The chances are that those are going to be much more accurate than if you just try to wing it when you haven't even taken the research step. So my answer is basically stop. Don't try to estimate things that you don't know how to do. Instead, estimate how long it'll take you to research, and that you should be able to estimate. And then once you've done that research, that part the goal of that research is to give you enough information to estimate out the other things. That should really be the goal. And I found that a lot of people will probably still disagree, but I found that it has helped me immensely and has made my accurates very reasonable and very accurate, especially when you get in the habit of doing that and you know that how good your research is and what things you need to research. Then you'll find that you'll become more accurate with those type of estimates, and you won't be putting yourself on the spot. It's ridiculous to try to estimate something that you don't know how to do yet. You can estimate how long it'll take you to learn it, but before you can even do that, you have to do some research. You have to know what the scope is, how big something is, what the difficulty is, what obstacles you might face, how other people have gone down that same path in the future, and that is all part of research. Well, hopefully that helps you. Thanks for sending me the email. That was a good question. If you have any questions, if you have any comments about this, send me an email at john@simpleprogrammer.com or subscribe to this channel, and maybe I'll answer your question in an upcoming video. Take care.